Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. We're going to start today with the Saints as well as they're wrapping up mandatory minicamp. And this is not sound from the last 24 hours. In fact, this is sound from a few days ago, but we haven't had time to get to it with all the baseball transfer portal stuff and LSU football and a lot of things that we've gotten to. And we hadn't gotten to this sound from Chris Olave. And to me, Chris Olave is such a vital piece to what the Saints are going to do offensively this year. I think it's a trap. Maybe you don't think it's a trap. I think it's a trap that we, as people that cover the Saints, Saints fans, people that are interested in the Saints, that are watching the Saints, that are analyzing the Saints, look at Klint Kubiak and immediately go, what do the 49ers do? That's what the Saints are going to do. And I think that's a trap because the 49ers and the Saints are not the same team. Their offensive lines aren't the same. Their weapons aren't the same. It's not apples to apples. Yesterday, I talked about some of the things I thought we could really rely on with a new offensive coordinator. Things like formations and motions. That stuff you're going to see. As far as execution and statistics and functionality of the offense, that's on Klint Kubiak to kind of adapt to what the Saints are. Alvin Kamara has had a great career in the NFL. I'm not going to find anybody in the NFL that's going to take Alvin Kamara over Christian McCaffrey in 2024. I think they're fairly similar players. McCaffrey is an all-pro. Kamara has been hurt a bunch. I don't think Deebo Samuel can be compared to anybody in the league. No one plays like Deebo Samuel. He's a wrecking ball of a human who's as good after the catch as anybody in the league. They hand him the ball. They get him the ball on screens. He does stretch the field. He works the he's a phenomenal player, and that's not a knock on the Saints. They don't have Deebo Samuel. I don't know if anybody has somebody that looks like Deebo Samuel. George Kittle is a prototype at tight end, and I don't think the Saints have that, especially now that Juwan Johnson's gone down with an injury. We'll talk to Luke about that. Now, the 49ers don't have anybody like Taysom Hill either, who takes direct snaps and can throw the ball down the field and is really fast and helps you in short yardage, and that's a different wrinkle the Saints have that San Francisco doesn't have. But when I look at the Saints and I try to figure out what their offense is going to look like, Olave's got to be right in the middle of it. He's got to be a star. If the Saints, in my opinion, are going to win the division, one, they're going to have to run the ball better by a long shot. And two, Olave's going to have to be a star. And he can be. This is, by just about anybody's estimation, a draft hit that the Saints made a couple of years ago. And he's looked really good. But he's got to be great this year for the Saints offense to come out of what felt like the Stone Ages at times last year into the modern offense that's super productive. And Chris Olave met with the media a few days ago. And the first thing that we're going to hear about is the shoulder injury that's given him a little bit of trouble. What does he have to say about the progress there? Do we have it? Beck's looking at the TV screen. Olave on his tweaked shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just doing treatment every day, trying to get better. I heard it in the weight room a little bit, but it's just been in the training room trying to get right.
So that's not significant at all. It's a guy that we're a long way away from training camp. We're a long way away from preseason games. We're a long way away from the first game. Nothing to worry about with the shoulder. Now, Olave spoke to his excitement with the new offense.
I love it, man. It's a great offense for the playmakers that we have, the West Coast offense that San Francisco ran. So we got a lot of playmakers since my first year, so it's to be able to use them. And with a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of different things that we haven't ran in the past, they bring here, so I'm excited.
And there you hear it, the pre-snap motion. I mean, that's the most obvious thing that you're absolutely going to see from the Saints. Now, he labeled it West Coast offense. I realize that Klint Kubiak was on the West Coast. I don't know if we can directly descend this offense from Bill Walsh, but if you're talking about a short and intermediate passing game, I think Olave is the best option that the Saints have in that way. Shaheed still gives you the opportunity to go over the top and make crazy plays, game-changing plays, and that's going to be his role in this offense because he runs like no one else runs in this offense. But if you're talking about getting the ball out, rhythm passing, timing passing, short stuff, intermediate stuff, Olave's got to be a star there, and he kind of talked about actually what his game brings to the new offense.
Just being more explosive, probably more yards per catch with the space that he's putting us into. The more yards after catch, more explosive plays for not just only me, but she and AK and Taysom. So I'm excited to be able to be in the system.
Yards after the catch is something you absolutely can scheme for because we remember in this market last year, LSU realized they weren't getting enough yards after catch. If you'll remember here, we heard oftentimes from Mike Denbrock and from the wide receivers, last year, which would be 2022, we were really good at catching the ball with our backs to the end zone. Hitch routes, stop routes, balls that were completable, very high percentage throws, short throws that worked and were efficient, but did not create big plays. And they said, we're going to work on getting some yards after catch and creating some space and then getting our playmakers in that space and getting the ball delivered on time. That's absolutely something you can work on. It's not, look, nobody does it quite like Deebo Samuel where you're knocking guys off your quads 20 yards down the field. That's a bit of a different thing to scheme for. But you can do it, and I think the Saints are going to absolutely look into creating some more explosive plays with all of those guys as playmakers, and Olave kind of pointed to that. Now, Michael Thomas, I don't know how much of a leader he was in the Saints offense. I think at times he was more of a issue in the locker room than a leader. But again, I'm not there. So I don't know day to day. I know what he tweets. I know what he says in press conferences. I know those type of things. I don't know about practice. I don't know about in the film room. I don't know about pregame in the huddle. I don't know exactly what his leadership role was, but certainly he was the elder statesman in that way because he had been around for a very, very long time. Now Michael Thomas is not there. And Rashid Shaheed's still kind of a new kid on the block, as kind of is Olave. When you talk about the receivers, it's a pretty young group that New Orleans has now, and Olave talked about taking maybe a little bit more vocal role now that Michael Thomas has moved on.
It's not really. Everybody kind of grown in the NFL, so it's just on you to be able to have that standard. Like I said, I just try to do that, lead by example. I'm not really outspoken, but just lead by example, working hard, trying to dominate every rep, and hopefully they follow after that.
He's saying all the right things, and I think he's doing all the right things. He was out there at mandatory minicamp and kind of working a little bit through some shoulder issues. Again, and I feel like I drop this caveat in all the time when I'm talking about the Saints, but I do realize it, so I want to address it. Like, I don't have a ton of phenomenal, glowing things to say about the Saints at this point. When I do have something positive to say, I will say it. Olave is reason for optimism. I think he can be as good a receiver as there is in the NFC South. Mike Evans has been phenomenal for a very, very long time. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's also on the back end of his career. You look at Carolina, they've got a couple of guys who've got some skins on the wall, but are they all pros? No. Atlanta's got weapons, no doubt about it, but I think Olave can be as good a wide receiver as there is in the NFC South. It's incumbent upon Klint Kubiak and Derek Carr to make sure he gets the ball enough, because the goal in any offense is to make sure your best guy has the football. And the Saints don't have Christian McCaffrey, and they don't have Deebo Samuel, and they don't have George Kittle. You could toss Brandon Ayuk's name in there, and I think the Saints do have Brandon Ayuk. I think he's right here in Chris Olave, and that's going to have to be a massive focal point for this Saints team as they move forward. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.